So let's check. So our progress report says we are at stage 5, paragraph page 338. 338. Okay, and our last headword was point, newer type of lesson. Okay,
Yes.
let's start with your revision. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. What's the contraction of I would? What's the contraction of I would? The
The
contraction
contraction
of I
of
would
I would
is
is
I'd.
I'd.
What are the contractions of you would, he would, she would, etc.? What are the contractions of you would, he would, she would, etc.? The
The
contractions of
contraction
you
of
would,
you
he
would,
would,
he
she
would,
would,
she would,
etc. are
etc. Are
you'd,
he,
he'd,
you,
she'd,
he'd,
etc.
she'd, etc.
Very good. If you went to the cinema this evening, which film would you see? If you went to the cinema this evening, which film would you see? If I went
If I
to the
went
cinema
to the
this
cinema
evening,
this evening,
I'd see,
I'd see Mission Impossible.
oh, Tom Cruise. Very good. If
Yeah.
if I were you, which language would I speak? If I were you, which language would I speak? If you were
If you
me,
were
you'd
me,
speak.
you'd speak Japanese.
Right? If a plant had no water, would it die? If a plant had no water, would it die? Yes.
Yes, if a
If a
plant
had no
had
water,
no water,
it'd
it
die.
would die.
Very good. What's the contractions of bookwood? What's the contraction of bookwood? The
The
contraction of
contraction
bookwood
of book
is booked.
booked
Is
is
booked.
booked
Very good.
booked.
What's the contraction of lessonwood? What's the contraction of lessonwood? The
The
contraction of
contraction of
lessonwood
lesson
is
wood
lessened.
is lessened.
What's the contraction of whowood? What's the contraction of whowood? The
The
contraction of
contraction
whowood
of hood
is hood.
who would
Whowood
is
is
hood.
hood. Very good. What's the contraction of what wood? What's the contraction of what wood? The
The
contraction of
contraction
what
of
would
what would
is
is
whatted.
what do.
The last one. What's the contraction of which wood? What's the contraction of which wood? The
The
contraction of which
contraction
wood
of which would
is
is
whiched.
whiched.
Very good. If you were a king, what did your wife be called? If you were a king, what did your wife be called? If I were
If
a
I
king,
were a
my
king,
wife
my
be
wife
called
to be called
a
a
queen.
queen.
If you lost your way in a large city, who do you ask? If you lost your way in a large city, who do you ask? If I lost
If I
my
lost
way
my
in a
way
large
in a
city,
large city,
I'd ask a
I'd ask a
policeman.
policeman.
If today were Sunday, what did tomorrow be? If today were Sunday, what did tomorrow be? If today were
If today
Sunday,
was Sunday,
tomorrow'd be
tomorrow would
Monday.
be Monday.
Very good. When office workers are too busy to leave their desk for lunch, do they often just have a quick sandwich? When office workers are too busy to leave their desk for lunch, do they often just have a quick sandwich? Yes. When
Yes,
office
when
workers
office
are
workers
too
are
busy
too
to
busy
leave their
to
desk
leave
for
their
lunch,
desks for
they
lunch,
often just
they
have
often
a
just
quick
have a
sandwich.
quick sandwich.
Right? What kind of things do we put in sandwiches? What kind of things do we put in sandwiches? We put meat,
We put meat,
cheese, egg,
cheese,
etc.
eggs,
in
etc. in
sandwiches.
sandwiches.
Very good. What's your biggest fault? What's your biggest fault? My biggest
My
fault
biggest fault
is,
is my English isn't fluent enough.
oh, it is becoming. Very good.
Thank you.
If your computer was faulty, would you know how to fix the fault? If your computer was faulty, would you know how to fix the fault? Yes or no?
Yes,
If my computer
if
was
I'm a
faulty,
computer faulty,
Homer, yes. If my
yes,
computer
if
was
my
faulty,
computer was
I'd
faulty,
know how to
I
fix the
know how
fault.
to fix the fault.
Very good. Are your dictations usually faultless? Are your dictations usually faultless? No, my
No,
dictations
my
aren't
dictations
usually
aren't
faultless.
usually
They
faultless.
usually
They
contain
usually
mistakes.
contain mistakes.
Right, if a student makes a mistake in his dictation, is it usually his fault or the teacher's fault? If a student makes a mistake in his dictation, is it usually his fault or the teacher's fault? If a student makes
If
a
a student
mistake in
makes a
his
mistake in
dictation,
his dictation,
it's usually his fault, but
it's usually his fault, but
but
it could be
sometimes be
sometimes
the
be
teacher's fault.
the teacher's fault.
Very good. What can we say instead of okay? What can we say instead of okay? We can say all
Instead,
right
we can say all right
instead of
instead
okay.
of okay.
Very good. Can we compare Michelangelo with Napoleon? Can we compare Michelangelo with Napoleon? No, we can't
No, we
compare
can't compare
Michelangelo with
Michelangelo
Napoleon.
and Napoleon
Why
with
with
Napoleon
Napoleon? Why not? Why not? Because they were
because
two
there were
completely
two
different
completely
kinds of
different
people
kinds of
who
people
did different
who did
things from
different
each
things
other.
from each other.
Very good. What must two people or things have if we want to make a comparison between them? What must two people or things have if we want to make a comparison between them? If we want
If we
to
want
make
to
a
make a
comparison
comparison
between two
between
people or things,
people or
they
things,
must have
they must
something in
have
common.
something in common.
Very good. What do we use ice for? What do we use ice for? We use
We
ice
use
for
ice
pouring
for
into drinks,
pouring, pouring
into
into
drinks
drinks,
to cool them,
to cool
etc.
them, etc.
Very good. Okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? You're pouring
You are
some
pouring
water
some
from
water
a
from
bottle
a
into
bottle
a glass.
into a glass.
Very good. Okay. Do you think that all the countries of the world will unite one day? Do you think that all the countries of the world will unite one day? Yes or no?
No,
I don't
I don't
think that
think
all the
that
countries
all
of
the
the
countries
world
of
will
the world
unite one
will
day.
unite one day.
Very good. Give me a sentence with the word even in it. Give me a sentence with the word even in it, please. He speaks Russian,
He speaks Russian,
German, French,
German,
and
French,
even
and even
Chinese. He
Chinese.
was very
He
impolite.
was a very
He
impolite.
didn't even
He
say
didn't
hello.
even say hello.
It's very simple.
It's very
Even a
simple.
child
Even a
could
child
understand it.
could understand it.
Very good. Do we generally mix sugar with potatoes? Do we generally mix sugar with potatoes? No, we
No,
don't
we don't
generally
generally
mix
mix
sugar with
to
potatoes.
sugar with
Wait,
potatoes.
one more. No, we don't
No,
generally
we don't
mix
generally
sugar
mix
with potatoes.
sugar
With
with
potatoes.
potatoes.
Very good. Do you think do you think a mixture of tea and coffee would make a pleasant drink? Do you think a mixture of tea and coffee would make a pleasant drink? No, I don't
No,
think
I
a
don't think
mixture
a
of
mixture
tea and
of tea
coffee
and
would
coffee
make a
would
pleasant
make
drink.
a pleasant
It
drink.
would make
It
an
would make
unpleasant drink.
an unpleasant drink.
Where if you mix some red and white paint together, what would you get? If you mix some red, white, and paint together, what would you get? If I mix
If I
some red
mix
and white
some red
paint
and
together,
white pink
I'd get
paint together, I'd get
pink paint.
pink paint.
Very good. Who cared for you when you were a child? Who cared for you when you were a child? My mother
My
cared for
mother
me when
cared
I
for
was a
me when
child.
I was a child.
Very good. Do you think the young should take care of the old? Do you think the young should take care of the old? Yes, I
Yes,
think the
I
young
think
should
the
take
young
care
should
of the old.
take care of the old.
Do you take good care of your health? Do you take good care of your health? Yes or no?
Yes,
I take
I
good
take
care of
good
my
care
health.
of my health.
Do you care what people think or say about you? Do you care what people think or say about you? Yes or no?
Yes,
I care what
I
people
care
think
what
or
people think
say
or
about
say
me.
about me.
Very good. If you were late for a very important appointment, would you take your time? If you were late for a very important appointment, would you take your time? No. If I
No,
were late
if
for a
I
very
were late
important
for a very
appointment, I
important
wouldn't take
appointment,
my
I
time.
wouldn't take my
I'd
time.
hurry.
I'd hurry
Why? Why? Because it's
because
important
it's
to keep
important to keep
appointments that
appointment
we've made.
that we've made.
Very good. Why is it sometimes a bad thing to hurry? Why is it sometimes a bad thing to hurry? It's sometimes
It's
a bad
sometimes
thing
a
to
bad
hurry
thing to
because
hurry
we often
because
make
we often
mistakes
make
when
mistakes
we hurry.
when we hurry.
Very good. Would you take your time going home if somebody told you your house was on fire? Would you take your time going home if somebody told you your house was on fire? No, I
No,
wouldn't take my
I wouldn't
time
take my
going
time
home
going
if
home.
somebody
If
told me
somebody told
my
me
house
my
was on
house
fire. I'd
was on
hurry.
fire, I'd hurry.
Very good. What's the translation of I am in a hurry in Japanese? What's the translation of I am in a hurry in Japanese? The translation
The
of I
translation
am
of
in a
I am
hurry
in a
in
hurry in
Japanese is
Japanese is 私は急いでいます。
very good. Okay, next. What do the words plenty of mean? What do the words plenty of mean? The
The
words plenty
words
of
plenty
means
of
more
mean
than enough.
means more than enough.
Very good. Do people hurry when they have plenty of time? Do people hurry when they have plenty of time? No.
No,
People don't
people
hurry
don't
when they
hurry
have
when they
plenty of
have
time.
plenty of
They
time.
take their time.
They they take the time.
Very good. What's
They take their time.
their time? Very good. What's the opposite of plenty of water? What's the opposite of plenty of water? The
The
opposite of
opposite
plenty of
of plenty
water
of
is
water
little water
is
or not
little
enough
water
water.
or not enough water.
Very good. What's the difference between the words for and since? What's the difference between the words for and since? The difference
The difference
between for
between
and since
for and
is
since
that we
is
use the
that we
word
use
for
the word
when we
for
say a
when we
period of
say a
time,
period of time,
whereas we use
whereas
the
we
word
use
since
the word
when we
since
say the
when
point
we say
at
the point
which the
at
period
which the
began.
period began.
Give me some examples of for. Give me some examples of for, please. for half an
for
hour
for half an
for
hour
2 weeks.
for 2 weeks.
Very good. Now give me some examples of since. Give me some examples of since, please. Since 6 o'clock.
Since 6 o'clock.
Since last June.
Since last June.
Very good. How long have you been in that room for? How long have you been in that room for? I've been
I've
in this
been
room
in
for.
this room for 30 minutes.
Very good. Since when have you been in that room? Since when have you been in that room? I've been in this
I've been
room
in this room
since
since 30 minutes ago.
30 minutes ago. Very good. How long have you lived in your town for? How long have you lived in your town for? I've lived in my
I've
town
lived in I've lived in my town
for
for 9 years.
9 years. Since when have you lived in your town? Since when have you lived in your town? I've lived in
I've
my
lived
town
in my town
since
since 9 years ago.
9 years ago. Very good. About how long have you known me for? About how long have you known me for? I've known you for about
I've known you for about
like
30 minutes.
very good. Since when have you known me? Since when have you known me? You've known. I've
You've
known
I've
you
known you
since
since
30
30
minutes.
minutes ago.
Very good. Have you been able to speak English for more than 10 years? Have you been able to speak English for more than 10 years? Yes or no?
Yes,
I've
I
been
have
able
been
to
being
speak
able to
English
speak
for
English
more than 10 years.
for more than 10 years ago.
Very,
For more than 10 years.
very good. Have you been able to speak English since you were a young child? Have you been able to speak English since you were a young child? Yes or no?
No,
I haven't been
I
able
haven't
to
been
speak
able to
English
speak
since
English
I was a
since
young
I was
child.
a young child.
Very good. And that's the end of our revision. Ooh, very fast. Let's
Okay,
have your
thank
word.
you.
Very good. Okay, repeat. Kitchen,
Kitchen,
fridge,
fridge,
freezer,
freezer,
cooker,
cooker,
sink,
sink,
microwave.
microwave.
Very good. Okay, listen. Fridge. The word fridge is a noun. In the USA, in America, in American English, fridge is informal. But in British English, it is the usual word for a refrigerator. Fridge. It's the common word. For example, we put some food, milk, etc. in the fridge. Freezer is a noun. It is a part of a fridge in which food can be stored for a long time, the coolest part. For example, meat lasts longer in a freezer. Cooker is a noun. It is used to cook food. For example, a rice cooker is used for cooking rice. Sink is a noun. For example, a kitchen sink. We wash our hands, face in a sink. We wash vegetables in a sink. We wash plates and cups in a sink. Microwave is a noun. It is an oven that uses waves of energy to heat or cook food quickly. For example, some people like using microwaves because they cook food very quickly. Kitchen is a noun. It is the room where we prepare and cook food. It usually contains a fridge, a freezer, a cooker, a sink, etc. Let's practice. What kind of things does a kitchen usually contain? What kind of things does a kitchen usually contain? A kitchen
A
usually
kitchen usually
contains a
contains
fridge, a
a fridge,
freezer,
a
a
freezer,
cooker,
a
a sink,
cooker, a sink,
etc.
etc.
Where does meat last longer in a fridge or a freezer? Does meat last longer in a fridge or a freezer? Meat lasts
The,
longer
the meat lasts
in a
longer in
freezer.
a fridge, in a freezer.
Very good. Why do some people like using microwaves? Why do some people like using microwaves? Some people
Some
like
people
using
like
microwaves
using
because they cook
microwaves
food very quickly.
because
They cook food
they cook food
very quickly.
very quickly.
Wait, one more. Some people
Some
like
people
using
like
microwaves
using
because they
microwaves
cook food
because they cook
very
food
quickly.
very quickly.
Very good. Next, repeat. Studies.
Studies,
Very good. Okay, listen. Study is a noun. It means subject. We usually use this in the plural form because we study a lot in a study. For example, English studies, language studies, social studies. An example sentence is I found my English pronunciation a little difficult at the beginning of my studies. I hope my English studies will help my future career. Let's practice. Did you find English pronunciation a little difficult at the beginning of your studies? Did you find English pronunciation a little difficult at the beginning of your studies? Yes or no? I
Yes,
found English
I found
pronunciation
English
a little
pronunciation
difficult
a little
at the
difficult
beginning of my
at the beginning
studies.
of my studies.
Greg, do you hope your English studies will help your future career? Do you hope your English studies will help your future career? Yes, I
Yes,
hope
I
my
hope
English
my
studies
English
will help
studies
my
will
future
help
career.
my future career.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Lend, lend, lend.
Lend,
Return.
return.
Very good. Okay, listen. Lend, lend, lend are the three forms of the verb lend. To lend is the opposite of the verb to borrow. For example, my friend borrowed money from me, so I lent him some money. I would lend you some money if you ask me. Return is a verb. It means to give back. For example, if I lent something to somebody and they didn't return it, I'd ask them to return it. Okay, let's practice. Oh, would you lend me some money if I ask you? Would you lend me some money if I ask you? Yes or no?
No,
I wouldn't lend you
I wouldn't
any
lend you
money
any
if you
money
ask me.
if you ask me.
Very good. If you lend something to somebody and they didn't return it, what did you do? If you lend something to somebody and they didn't return it, what did you do? If I lend
If I
something
if I lend
to
something
somebody and
to
they didn't
somebody,
return it,
then didn't return
I'd
it,
ask them to
I'd
return
I
it.
I I'd
I'd
ask
ask
them
them to return.
I'd ask them to return
Very
it.
good. One more. If I lent
If
something
I
to
lend
somebody
something to
and they didn't
somebody
return
and
it,
they didn't return
I'd
it,
ask them to return
I'd
it.
ask them for return it
To return it.
to return it.
Very good. Okay, next repeat the first name.
First name,
Surname.
surname,
Very good. Okay, listen. First name is a noun. It is also known as the given name, personal name, or Christian name. It's the name that comes before your family name. Surname is a noun. It is also known as the last name or the family name. It is the name that you share with other members of your family. For example, Anna Brown. Anna is her first name and Brown is her surname or family name. Okay, so let's practice. What's his name? What's his name? His name's
his
is
name's
Jack.
Jack
Okay.
Jack Brown.
Oh, that's what's his surname. What's his surname? His surname's
his
Brown.
surname his surname is Brown.
Very good. Again, next, repeat. Actor,
Actor,
actress,
actress,
famous,
famous,
film star.
film star.
Very good. Okay, listen. Actor is a noun. An actor is a boy or a man who acts in a play or film. For example, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, or Johnny Depp. Actress is a noun. An actress is a girl or woman who acts in a play or film. For example, Angelina Jolie, Julia Roberts, etc. Famous is an adjective. It means known and recognized by many people. It also means popular, famous. For example, I would like to be popular or I would like to be famous. A few famous people in history are Shakespeare, Einstein, Michelangelo, etc. Film star. When we say film star, it's a noun. A film star is a famous actor or actress in the cinema world. Let's practice. Would you like to be famous? Would you like to be famous? Yes or no?
No, I
I would.
wouldn't be
I
wouldn't
wouldn't like to be
I
famous.
I wouldn't like to be famous.
Very good. What's a film star? What's a film star? A film star
A film
is a
star
famous actor
is a
or
famous actor
actress
or
in the
actress
cinema world.
in the cinema world.
Very good. Tell me the names of some famous film star. Tell me the names of some famous film stars, please. The names of some
The names
famous
of some famous
film stars
film
are
stars are
Johnny Depp,
Tom, Johnny Depp,
Tom Cruise,
Tom Cruise,
etc.
etc.
Name a few famous people in history. Name a few famous people in history, please. A few famous
A
people in
few
history
famous people in
are
history
Shakespeare,
are
Einstein,
Shakespeare, Einstein,
Michelangelo, etc.
Michelangelo, etc.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Last one. Industrial,
Industrial,
agricultural,
agricultural,
region.
region.
Very good. Okay, listen. Industrial is an adjective. It means with lots of factories. For example, there are many factories in Tokyo. Tokyo is an industrial place. Region is a noun. It means the parts of a country that are not close to the capital city. For example, Hokkaido region, Kanto region, or Tohoku region. Agricultural is an adjective. An agricultural region means a place with lots of farms, etc. For example, Hokkaido is an agricultural place. Niigata Prefecture is also an agricultural place, which is famous for Koshihikari rice.
Oh,
Chubu region is one of the most agricultural region in Japan. Okay, let's practice. What's the most industrial city in your country? What's the most industrial city in your country?
the
Tokyo
most Tokyo
is
is
the most
the
industrial
most
city
industrial city
in my country.
in my country.
What's the most agricultural region of your country? What's the most agricultural region of your country?
Hokkaido
Is the most
is the most
agricultural region
agricultural region
of
in
my
my country.
of my
Of my
country.
country.
Very
Of my
good.
country.
Now let's move on to reading.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, so reading is at stage 4, paragraph page 300. The three forms of important. Okay, please start reading
Okay.
at paragraph page 301. Headword simply.
Okay. Simply,
Mhm.
is it possible to learn English simply by listening to English songs? No, it isn't possible to learn English simply by listening to English songs. By mistake. Have you ever taken things that weren't yours by mistake? Yes, I've sometimes taken things that weren't mine by mistake. Have you shaken anybody's hand today? No, I haven't shaken anybody's hand today. Have you written anything this lesson? No, I haven't written anything this lesson. If, whether, doubt. What does the word whether mean and when do we generally use it? The word whe- the word whether means the same as if, and we generally use it when we express a doubt.
Mhm.
Give me an example, please. I don't know whether he can speak English or not. Do you know whether I have any money in my pocket? No, I don't know whether you have any money in your pocket. Do you have any idea whether they speak German or not? No, I don't have any idea whether they speak German or not. Can you tell me whether it'll rain tomorrow or not? No, I can't tell you whether it'll rain tomorrow or not. What's another use of the word whether? Another use of the word whether is when two possible actions have the same result. Give me an example, please. Whether it rains tomorrow or not, I'll go for a walk. What's the difference between these two sentences? I'm going to buy the car if it's cheap, and I'm going to buy the car whether it's cheap or not. The difference between these two sentences is that the first sentence means I'm going to buy the car only if it's cheap, whether
Whereas,
whereas the second sentence means I'm going to buy the car if it's cheap or expensive. The price is not important.
very good.
Speed. What is the highest speed a car can go when in town in this country? The highest speed a car can go when in town in this country is 60 kilometers an hour.
Mhm.
Surprise. Do you like unpleasant surprises? No, I don't like unpleasant surprises. Does it surprise you when somebody from another country speaks your language well? Yes, it surprises me when somebody from another country speaks my language well. Struggle. Is it a big struggle for you to get up on a cold winter's morning when you feel very tired? Yes, it's a big struggle for me to get up on a cold winter's morning when I feel very tired. Do you sometimes struggle to understand people when they speak English quickly? Yes, I sometimes struggle to understand people when they speak English quickly.
Okay, very good. So we stop there.